I'm joined today by Dickie Miler, who's running for the Mayor of Summerville. And this is for the Love of Real Estate podcast. Dickie, thanks for joining.
Oh, Roni, thank you for having me. It's great being here.
Well, it's an honor. So we know each other socially and through business. You're a real estate agent.
Absolutely.
In fact, you own a whole brokerage here in Summerville.
Had the pleasure to be doing this for a long time, Roni, but we started Miler Properties in 1992.
Yep.
So if you do the math, that's 31 years doing that.
You got me beat. I'm 21 years into the business. We both love this community, and you have gotten quite a name for yourself. You've also pulled some of your family into your business and your love for real estate as well, right?
Yes. Well, Roni, it's a bittersweet thing. It's a love-hate thing. Obviously, Debbie and I work together along with my daughter and son-in-law and my sister and my brother. And several years ago, I had my uncle and my father there too. So at the end of the day, regardless of what happened, we can honestly say, I love you.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow. But the first sometimes would fly. I don't mind telling you.
Well, I commend you and your family because it really shows the family unit that you guys have created for yourself.
Thank you. My father got involved in real estate in 1972, and I think we all kind of took a page off of his love for real estate, but it wasn't really the love of the real estate. It was the love of Summerville. And you can see that in great real estate agents today, like yourself and others. They love the community.
We love the community. We love introducing other people to the community.
Absolutely.
This morning, I spoke with a mutual friend of ours, but she is a strong sponsor for Dickie Miler for mayor. So I asked her, what is it about Miler that you are really, why do you stand behind him? And a few things that she said about that was, you have a unique quality as a relationship builder. You make people feel like they are the only one in the room when you're talking with people. You love this town. You have a different perspective. You are a Christ follower. Experience and qualities in leadership, such as your church, St. Paul's, and for years at the YMCA. And just a real leader that looks at problems and is able to help make decisions that is best for all parties involved. Spoke very highly of you.
Wow. I'm surprised my wife said all that, to tell you the truth.
Wasn't your wife?
Well, I know. Well, let me just say this. I'm flattered by any kind of words of encouragement and affirmation. But reality is, when you love something, it's easy to do what you do. I don't care if it's a personal relationship or the love for the Lord, your community, or nonprofit. And somehow, I think we learned that from my parents. My mother was raised a Mormon, by the way, but she always had a huge sense of family and giving. And she taught that all of us as young kids. And, of course, Dad being born and raised here, his love of others would just kind of was so obvious. In fact, Roni, when he was at the peak of his real estate career, all of his customers he would bring home to meet Mother. They would break bread together. And so every customer became friends. And we saw that. It was modeled. And so we said, that's what life's all about. And so therefore, I've always seen my business, whether it's what I do as a profession in real estate or serving others, I see it as a ministry. Whether it's a housing ministry or social ministry or giving ministry. And therefore, it's effortless. I hate to say that, but it really is. And I know you feel the same thing. Yeah. You can't outgive the giver.
Yeah, that is so true. We are in a relationship business, and it's a really fortunate thing. It just happens to be that our skill set is, it may be in real estate, right? But we are relationship focused, and so that is evident. If anybody that meets you, there's a strong connection. There's a strong connection. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
You do have, as you mentioned, a long history, family history here in Summerville.
Yeah.
And you've raised your 4 daughters in this town. You got me beat by one. I was afraid if I had a fourth, I might have another girl. So I stopped. But you went for it. You had 4 girls, and they are all raised and very successful in their own right.
Well, thank you for sharing that. But Roni, Debbie's OBGYN, and I love this guy, Dr. Victor Weinstein. He told me, he said, Dickie, you could have 7 kids, but they're all going to be girls. So we weren't trying to have another son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we just had children. And boy, by the way, the girls are, they're a gift. They're a joy. And they have stretched me as a guy. I can play Barbie with the best of them. You know, I can do hair.
Yeah.
And I see a different side of life as opposed to having just a bunch of guys.
A little softer.
A softer side.
And emotions, you know, we have to be sensitive to that.
Now I don't weep and moan like they all do all the time, but I do have a little sensitive side to me. But you know, when I'm talking about the family heritage here, my great-great-grandfather was named Edward Hutchinson, who was the first intendant of Summerville. And that was just a fancy word for mayor. But it wasn't until 1900 that they changed the term to mayor. And my great-grandfather, Dan Miler, was the first mayor of Summerville. So we've had a history of always being involved. In fact, Hutchinson Square is named after my great-great-grandfather, Edward Hutchinson.
What a legacy.
Wow.
Now you get the honor to run on a platform. So that you too can hopefully serve as mayor of this town.
Yes.
Your platform, as I understand it, is preserve, protect, and promote.
That is correct.
Tell me what that means to you. Why is that your platform?
The platform has the 3 P's, which is preserve, protect, and promote, underscored with the 3 T's, which is trust, transparency, and teamwork. And the way I see this, team building, like in real estate, like in anything, you have to build a trust relationship with those you work with or for. And once that happens, then some kind of synergy happens where really a common goal is met and great things can happen. And what I believe that this Summerville, this little town we have called Summerville, the flower town of the Pines it is, in my opinion, the greatest town in South Carolina. It's the jewel of the low country. It's an oasis that everybody feels they love it. It's a sense of place. And it has a community pride that you don't see in a lot of towns anymore. I'm not talking bad about any other town because we have dear friends and family in a lot of them, but Summerville is a special place. Therefore, I want to protect and preserve that feel, that ambiance. And you do that by making sure that the people still feel the connectedness, and also the town has a sense, a look that still speaks town. Even though we're 55,000 plus, as you well know, we're the 8th largest city in South Carolina. So we're not Mayberry, but that Mayberry feel is special. And therefore, that's the platform, is to preserve and protect that, some of the buildings, some of the height restrictions, some of the other areas that we have. But also I want to promote this town by increasing the downtown walkability of the historic district. We need more shops. We need more wine bars. We need more boutiques. We need several more restaurants. So my plan, as I promote this town, is to go right across the railroad tracks into the next block and make that the second town square. And we've got a beautiful vision of that I think the town will love, and also something that our grandchildren will want to come and stay.
Yeah. I think that's the key component, is building families,
Right.
but then retaining the children into this town. Well, that's interesting that you're talking about the downtown kind of growing outward.
Yes.
Because there's great potential for that. I think that the roads, the infrastructure here within the town of Summerville, and then the greater area of Dorchester, Berkeley County, because Summerville, even though it's comprised, you're running for a seat on the town
Right.
level, but really it's very impactful for the whole community at large of Summerville, which does span across really into 3 counties, but 2 vastly between Dorchester and Berkeley, which I understand Berkeley is the second fastest growing county, only next to Horry County right now. But so you've got this expansive growth. Technology, manufacturing, hospitality are all feeding into that growth. And with it, people want that sense of community. That's what I sell all the time, and you do too in your brokerage of real estate. But people want to come here. They hear about it. They tell their friends about it. And there's been a huge migration into this area. But with it comes responsibility for growth. Now, thankfully, we've got Berlin G. Myers that is underway. That's going to alleviate a lot of burden off of Main Street coming through the heart of town. But there's got to be continued. And I feel like some of this has been, from my perspective, my opinion is that it's been delayed. And we've got to catch up with where the growth is today.
Absolutely. It's kind of funny that you mentioned infrastructure, because that really is my main platform, is what can we do to relieve this horrific traffic in this town? Congestion of traffic is not just congestion. There are several factors that it plays a major impact on a community's health and welfare. It drains the economy. People are stuck in traffic, late to work, so the productivity is less. It hinders the emergency vehicles to getting from point A to point B. There's a snarl. In fact, there's studies, it's even a mental health problem that affects a lot of people. You've seen more road rage and those kind of things. But I want to eliminate the word, I love Summerville, but. I want to eliminate the word but. And of course, the but is always followed by there's so much traffic. And we have a marvelous plan. In fact, I've got a team that we call ourselves the Traffic Czars. And Roni, I'm telling you right now, there are things we can do, about 7 things that are going to relieve a lot of traffic. The Berlin G, yes, huge help. The Nexton Parkway through Maple Street, yes, big help. But lots more has to be done, and we're going to do it.
Yeah. Well, and you were talking about connectivity and the walkability of town. Those of us that are runners, those people that have, recently I had an incoming buyer who wanted to buy in town, but there was no sidewalk, and people that have young families, they want to be able to safely walk from point A to point B. They want to get to the parks that are so beautiful here now, and so they want to have accessibility to easily get into the shops and the boutiques and the dining and the wine store. All of this that is now hosted in town and will continue to grow. We've got to be able to get people here, and sometimes that means outside of cars, right? So if they can bring their golf carts, if they can bring their bikes and get around town, if you can get from downtown Summerville easily and safely with a widened walkway out to Nexton, just starting to really connect, allowing Nexton residents to be able to come and to town and shop and dine here, which is now feeding into the town, would be great as well.
Well, you speak so wisely about that, because even though we have beautiful parks, they're not connected at all.
Not at
all. And the walkability is a major problem. So part of our platform is to sidewalk almost the entire district, to connect it all the way from downtown all the way through Nexton. And part of that will be the new passive park that we hope and pray to do on Gadsden property. Also, anybody who's done any kind of quality studies realizes that sidewalks, bicycle paths, those are quality of life issues. Yeah. It draws people into it. It makes a family have a sense. And those are the things we want to do. Now, many administrations in town have known that, but have failed to do it. It takes passion and energy and drive and a total commitment to do it. And I am.
Yes, and being able to cooperate and collaborate with other people, because there's a lot that goes into being able to getting power lines underground, which is a passion of mine, to beautify the city, but also getting the sidewalks widened and nice and level, and being
Amen.
Able to have all of that.
We
integrated.
just talked with our town engineer, and by the way, they've appropriated the funds to put all the wiring underground in town.
What?
Not in the residential district yet, but that's step number 2. Because think about this: every time there's a bad storm, we spend thousands of dollars trimming the trees and butchering our tree canopy.
Yes.
So that's the plan: is put that underground.
Yeah.
Expensive, yes, but long term, it's a benefit.
Well, it is.
And we're preserving our town, our feel.
It is. Well, more parking.
Yes. I got a great plan for that. And listen, I know this is very controversial, but why not? All right. Part of my platform is that we have to have another downtown parking garage. And I plan to do that on the YMCA parking lot. It's already a parking lot. I've already talked to a lot of the stakeholders. It'd be perfect Plus, it opens up the next quadrant of downtown shopping, which is right across the railroad track. And we've got a great plan for that. Yeah. We want to put the new county library on that track. We want to move the museum, which is buried somewhere, on that track. We want to build a children's interpretive museum, put it on that track, put a couple of wine bars in there, a brewery, some shops, anchored by the old train depot restaurant. It's going to be beautiful. In the middle is going to be a big fountain with paths and greenery and canopy space. Just think about a second town square. It's going to make Summerville really so dynamic, but not lose its appeal.
Yeah.
And all those buildings, the Lord willing, will have the same kind of look as the Timrod Library. You'll still feel, wow, it's new, but it's not. So those are things we're going to do to make this town beautiful, accessible. And yes, to do that, we have to work together. And I really believe that one of my gifts, and Lord, I'm not bragging, I'm just saying one of my gifts is to build teamwork, to work with others, to understand that we make things happen. Therefore, I have great connections with Downtown Dream, with the Chamber of Commerce, great friends on county council, and then with new people coming into town council, by the way, and a new administration. I really believe the best days are so much in front of us. It's exciting.
It is exciting. I look forward.
I want you to be excited.
Well, it is. It is exciting. I mean, I live here. I'm raising my family here.
Yes.
I do business here.
Yes.
This office that I hope to open is here, and it's all here with a purpose and an intent. Very intentional. I travel all over like you do every day, right? Yep. But this is my home base. This is where my love and passion is right here in the heart of town. So what do you envision town of Summerville looking like in 25 years? When your grandkids are sitting here doing business and operations, what do you want this town to look like?
I want them to wake up every day and say, wow, we live in heaven, a place of paradise, a sliver of heaven in paradise. And you know, what makes it happen is commitment, passion, and drive, and the desire to leave a legacy behind us that honors them, but us as well. And let me just say this, once something is lost, it's gone. And that's why I'm so passionate about this 500 North Main Street, about preserving that facade over there of the old hospital. That has so much history. The town of Summerville drips with history, culturally wise, from the black community, from the Native American community, from the old brick kilns we had here. Once that's gone, you can never get it back. So I want to preserve that kind of history and feel so everybody will think that they've got the most beautiful small town in the state. And it will look something like it is today.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of preserving some history, I was at your home the other day, and I was standing there. I said, what is that building? And you have a little piece of history right in your backyard. Tell me about that.
When we bought the property 23 years ago, I didn't know it was there.
It was so grown over.
It was so overgrown over. But what we found out, it is an old servants' quarter.
Yeah.
That was part of the old Waring plantation that was a gift by King George back in the late 1700s. Now, they have dated this, and who is they? The Preservation Society from the state has come down, and they have dated this to 1837. And it's a two-story servant's cabin. And so it's just amazing. It's something that's still standing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interest in that. In fact, I met with Dr. Ed West just last week, and he's bringing another archaeological dig team coming in there just to find out more about the history of Summerville. But there's a story that we don't have enough time to talk about, but that is part of who we were, but it was part of a loving family who embraced all that were there.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, we cannot erase history. We learn from it, right?
Amen.
And part of that is preserving and keeping intact those memories. And so I think the overgrowth helped preserve it to the point that that it is today. But I look forward to.
Don't talk bad about my housekeeping and yard work now, Ronnie.
No.
But let me say this about history. History is a wonderful vehicle to unite people, not divide. Now, people try to twist it to say it's some kind of bad thing, but how we got here, why we're here, why we think, what are the factors that influence that, that's all beautiful stuff. And it's our DNA, who we are. And it helps us in all of our life's journey become better people and better citizens to know where we came from. So I love history, and I want Summerville to always embrace its proud history.
The history of this town is what it is.
Yep.
There's been a lot of good that happened in this town.
Yes.
It really has. There's a huge responsibility on not just the mayor, because it's the whole town council, it's the whole county council. It's the cooperation of all of those parties integrated to make this every year. Every person that's elected official in this town has a responsibility to serve this community and help it grow. And so I'm putting the pressure on you, Dickie.
Well, let me say something. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Let me say this also about collaboration, is that because of the profession that you and I are in, I've had the privilege to sell real estate in all the Tri-County area. And so I've met a lot of the stakeholders, not just landowners, but people who work in the communities, the legislatures,
That's right.
the mayors, all these kind of people. And so I've already got a great working relationship, and they know that Summerville has to have a main seat at that table because we are a major stakeholder in the growth of the Tri-County area. And so I'm excited about that. Pressure? Well,
it's the collaboration. It really is. It's building the relationships.
Yes.
It's having the vision. It's
Yes.
sticking to the platform,
Amen.
not just saying that this is what I want to happen. It's making a difference. And I look forward to, if in fact you are elected, I look forward to seeing what you do with the visions that you've had, the people that are standing behind you, like the individual I spoke with this morning, and just getting things done in this town.
Well, I really appreciate that. And the Lord willing and His favor shines upon me, that will happen. In the meantime, though, we run an excellent campaign because those that run it against me are fantastic people. I have the highest respect for everybody. Anybody who wants to serve the town in any capacity, I have the highest respect for, because their love for the town is great as well.
Yes.
But together we're going to do great things, so I'm looking forward to that.
Dickie, if people want to find out more about you and your platforms, how can they do that?
Very easy. All they have to go is www.milerformayor.com, and it'll tell you all about it.
Good.
Please do.
Dickie, thanks for joining me this morning. I appreciate you.
Well, Roni, thank you for having me. Great seeing you.
You bet. For those watching on YouTube, make sure to click the bell so you can be notified when more podcasts drop. See you next time.